You know what's interesting about smart people? They don't just make mistakes, they make the same mistakes over and over with complete awareness that they're doing it. A trader who knows the rules of risk management, blowing their account anyway. A person who knows exactly what they should be doing with their life, still stuck in the same place 3 years later. Intelligence is not the problem. Awareness is not the problem. So what is? That's what we're going to break down today. Welcome to High Value Thinking. If this is your first time here, this channel exists for one reason: to explore the psychology behind how high-performing people think, decide, and operate. Not theory, not motivation, frameworks that actually work. Whether you're navigating financial markets, building something, or just trying to close the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Today we're going deep on one of the most counterintuitive patterns in human psychology. Why the people with the most knowledge, the most self-awareness, and the most intelligence are often the ones most trapped by their own patterns. Let's get into it. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Intelligence gives you the ability to explain your behavior after the fact, and that is both a gift and a trap. In trading, we call this post hoc rationalization. You make a decision based on emotion, fear, hope, ego, and then within seconds, your intelligent brain constructs a logical story about why that decision made complete sense. The story is convincing, it's detailed, it's wrong. But here's the deeper issue. This doesn't just happen in trading, it happens in relationships, in careers, in every pattern you've tried to break and couldn't. Psychologists call this motivated reasoning. Your mind isn't searching for the truth. It's searching for confirmation that the decision you already made was right. And the smarter you are, the better you are at building that case. In 1999, researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger published findings that changed how we think about competence. Most people know the beginning of that story, the famous Dunning-Kruger effect. But what most people miss is the other end of the curve. Experts, truly knowledgeable people, often underestimate their own blind spots precisely because they know so much. They assume that because they understand the system, they understand themselves within the system. They don't. So if intelligence isn't the problem, what is? In my experience, both in studying psychology and in watching what happens to people under the pressure of real financial decisions, the answer is almost always the same. Emotional state overrides cognitive knowledge. Let me make this concrete. Intellectually, that cutting a losing trade is the correct move. Every piece of analysis says exit, every rule in your playbook says exit, but your nervous system is flooded with cortisol. Your ego is activated, and suddenly you're not making a trading decision anymore. You're trying to avoid the feeling of being wrong. This is the pattern beneath the pattern. It's not about trading, or money, or that specific mistake. It's about a much older, much deeper program, the need to protect your self-image. Psychologists call it ego-protective behavior. Traders call it letting losers run. Life coaches call it self-sabotage. It's all the same thing. And here's what makes it so difficult to break. The behavior feels rational in the moment, every time. Because your brain isn't experiencing it as self-sabotage, it's experiencing it as survival. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between losing money and losing status and losing safety. To your brain, it's all the same threat. After studying this pattern for years, in psychology, in behavioral economics, and in the real behavior of traders under pressure, I've identified what I call the 3 locks. The 3 mechanisms that keep smart people stuck in the same cycles. Lock 1. Identity consistency. We are psychologically wired to behave in ways that are consistent with who we believe we are. If you secretly believe you're someone who doesn't follow through, no amount of planning, no amount of motivation will override that belief for long, because completing the goal would require you to become someone different, and that is one of the most threatening things a human brain can experience. Lock 2. Familiar discomfort. This one is counterintuitive. People don't stay in painful patterns because they enjoy the pain. They stay because the pain is familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. A trader who's used to losing will unconsciously create conditions to lose, even when they have a winning setup in front of them, because winning feels wrong, unfamiliar, threatening. Lock 3. The illusion of future self. Smart people are exceptionally good at planning to change. They have detailed systems, color-coded journals, perfect frameworks. But there's a cognitive distortion that psychologists call temporal self-appraisal. We instinctively believe our future self is more disciplined, more rational, and more capable than our present self. So we make commitments today that our future self was never going to keep. Not because of weakness, because we fundamentally misjudged who that future self would actually be under pressure. So how do you actually break the cycle? Not with more information, not with better plans, with one thing: environmental design. The most consistent, high-performing people I've studied don't rely on willpower. They don't rely on motivation. They build systems that make the right behavior the path of least resistance. In trading, this looks like preset rules, hard stops, checklists you must complete before every entry, not because you don't trust yourself, but because you understand that under pressure, you will always default to your environment. The same principle applies everywhere. If you want to think better, remove the things that make shallow thinking easy. If you want to act differently, change what your environment rewards. Your behavior is not a reflection of your character, it's a reflection of your context. And here's the most important insight. You don't need to become a different person. You need to design conditions where your current self naturally makes better choices. That's not a motivational idea. That's neuroscience. Smart people keep making the same mistakes because intelligence creates better stories, not better behavior. The 3 locks, identity consistency, familiar discomfort, and the illusion of future self, keep even the most self-aware people trapped. And the exit is never more willpower. It's always better design. If this gave you something to think about, hit subscribe. Every week we go deeper on the psychology of performance, decision-making, and building a life with real intention. I'll see you in the next one.